Hello and welcome. I'm in Sao Paulo for Brasil Investment Forum, which is an incredibly high-profile event organized by the Brazilian government and the Inter-American Development Bank. And I'm now joined by Sao Paulo's Mayor, Joao Doria. Thank you for being with me. You've been in this job for only 6 months. You've embarked into a very ambitious privatization program that sees a total of 7 billion reais in assets being either sold or seeking to involve the private sector. And I believe you may also run in next year's presidential election. But before I ask you about your views on the country's prospects for the next year, I would like to ask you more details about the private sector's reaction to your privatization program.
Silvia, we believe that the government could do what they have to do. And we decided to make this strong privatization program in Sao Paulo, the strongest ever did in Brazil. And we have 55 areas in charge for privatization and concession in the city. We have more than 1,000 properties that we don't use. We make this money to invest full in education, in public health, and in infrastructure in the city. And also, we have some properties as Interlagos racetrack, or Pacaembu soccer stadium, or IMB convention center. These are not activities for government. This is for private sector. And we are convinced on that. And we'll put all this on private hands. Of course, they will pay. We expect that they pay a lot for that, and make municipality funds to get all this money to the social projects.
So it
especially education and public health.
So it does make sense to involve the private sector into these areas. What is the private sector reaction, bearing in mind the ongoing political uncertainty that is enveloping Brazil?
The reaction is very, very positive. Not just in Brazil, not just for Brazilian investors, but also for foreign investors. We are making some roadshows in Asia and the US and Europe, talking with investors, and they are very motivated to invest in these new areas that we are offering to these private investments. They are very, very positive, and we are very optimistic. What
should change to attract even more investors to the country? One point that a lot of them, when I speak to them, raise is the fact that often rules may change, and often Brazil seems to be a local player's game. So it's difficult for some of them to get into some of these areas. Real estate may be one of them. So is it something that concerns you as well, and what are your plans to improve it?
Yes, well, it's a combination. Brazil is a very strong country. We have ups and downs. Any investors understand that Brazil has some turbulence, but they know that this is a big market. This is the strongest market in Latin America. So they have an overview in the long term. When do you feel, when do you know, when do you make your strategy, you can understand Brazil better than if you just see in a very short period. So we are convinced, we are very optimistic in the future, not just of the city, Sao Paulo city, as a mayor of the city, but in Brazil also. We believe that we are going out of this crisis, and for next year, we start our growing again.
So this is your projection then for next year when you may run in the presidential elections. What country do you think you will find in that case?
Silvia, I didn't say that. I am optimist with the country, not with myself. I have to be mayor. The good service that I can do to my country, to my people, is to be a good mayor. I was just elected. I have just 6 months as a mayor in Sao Paulo, and I keep going as a good mayor, doing a good job. Doing that, I can help my country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Doria.
Thank you, Silvia.